Hello everyone, the topic I'm going to introduce is how we understand language, and I'll explain it based on the theories of psycholinguistics. Every day, we talk with our friends and family, and some of you would go to school and listen to the lectures of professors. How can you do this? Before we discuss the process, let's think about the term comprehension. It is used instead of understanding in psycholinguistics. Comprehension refers to the process of figuring out the intended meaning of input, which is given by a speaker or writer. This input has various forms. It can be speaking, writing, or gestures and facial expressions in case of sign language. Here, we'll focus on the most common languages, spoken and written languages. Then which processes does our mind go under when you listen and read? According to psycholinguistics, there are 5 processes: phonological or orthographic process, lexical process, syntactic process, semantic process, and pragmatic process. Let's begin with the first one, phonological or orthographic process. For spoken language, it is phonological process, and for written language, it is orthographic process. Spoken language is delivered to a listener in the form of sound waves. In the phonological process, our mind figures out phonemes, abstract representations of sound segment in our mind, and prosody, how phonemes are pronounced, from the acoustic features of the sound waves. So the sound waves are delivered to you, and your mind figures out that they are phonemes k, e, t, and that the syllable has lexical stress. In case of written language, we perceive the letters using their features, such as a vertical line, a horizontal line, or a curve bent to the left. For instance, letter C is perceived as a combination of curves bent to the left, upside, and downside. So, in the orthographic process, when you read the word cat in a book, your mind combines letter features and figures out that they are C-A-T. Once the phonological or orthographic process is done, our mind proceeds to the second step, lexical process. As a result of phonological or orthographic process, we have the combination of phonemes or letters. With it, our mind gets access to the lexicon and recognizes the word's meaning. What is lexicon? It's a dictionary in our mind. All the information about the words is stored here, and we're not conscious of the words and their information when they're just stored in the lexicon. If we are conscious of them, we would be able to count how many words we know, but we can't. In the lexical process, with the combination of k, et, or cat, our mind gets access to the lexicon and finds the right word that corresponds to the combination. Then our mind brings the information of the selected word to the area of consciousness, which is called retrieval. As a result, we recognize the meaning of the word cat, that it is an animal like in the picture. When the lexical process is done, our mind moves on to the next step, syntactic process. In this process, our mind figures out the structure of a sentence, which is the relationship of words. For example, in the sentence I ate the cookies, the tree diagram will look like this. So when the sentence is given, our mind builds this structure. The next step after the syntactic process is semantic process. In this process, our mind figures out the literal meaning of a sentence. Take a note that it is the literal meaning. When the sentence "Can you close the window" is given, our mind figures out that it is a question asking if we have the ability to close the window. However, we all know that it isn't a question. This leads to the last step, pragmatic process. In this process, our mind figures out the speaker or writer's intended meaning using context information and world knowledge. In the previous sample sentence, "Can you close the window?" the literal meaning sounds really weird. Why? That's because it violates maxim of quantity, one of the conversational maxims. Asking about the ability to close the window is too clear that it doesn't add any information. So our mind thinks that the speaker may have intended something else. Considering that the window is close to us, the sentence would be a request to close the window, which is the right interpretation. So far, we've discussed the 5 processes underlying language comprehension. But are the processes done sequentially? What I mean is, do you think that our mind moves on to the lexical process after figuring out every phoneme of a sentence? Actually, it is not. We analyze the given input as much as possible in real time, and it is called incremental processing. Let's go back again to the sample sentence. Can you close the window? In real time, you'll figure out the phonemes k, e, n, and so on. But after a certain point, can, for example, the person proceeds to the next stage while figuring out the phonemes of the given input. So the can part goes under the lexical process, recognizing the meaning of can. At the same time, we figure out the phonemes y and u from the input. Like this, the different processes are done for the different parts at the same time. This seems too complicated, so you might wonder how we can understand language so fast and easily. That's because the whole process is done automatically and unconsciously. We don't have to think about it. This is the end of the overview of language comprehension. Thank you.